50 years of a legally enshrined right to abortion in the United States has been brought to an end after the country's Supreme Court decided to overturn its landmark ruling made in 1973. It means that tens of millions of women across the US do not have their right to an abortion guaranteed by the Constitution, and individual US states are now legally entitled to ban the procedure. Nearly half of America's 50 states are expected to do so, and 13 have already passed so-called trigger laws, which outlaw or severely restrict abortion automatically following the court's ruling. It is a momentous decision which has delighted and enraged Americans. Well, our North America editor Sarah Smith is at the Supreme Court for us now. Sarah.
Protests have been growing here outside the court all day as people absorb this dramatic news. Whether you agree with the ruling or not, this is a seismic moment in America, as almost 5 decades of guaranteed abortion rights have been immediately and totally reversed. This is a huge, historic moment for America. As they hear the news from the court, there's jubilation from anti-abortionists.
Life won today! Life won today!
Life won today, they chant, celebrating a victory after almost 50 years.
You know, I've seen the devastation abortion has wrought on our country on a communal level and on a personal level. And this is so vindicating to know that we can now take tangible steps to lessen the violence of abortion in our country.
10 years ago, did you ever imagine this would happen?
I imagined it a lot, but people told me it was impossible, that we would never see this kind of victory. And now I know that victory is not only possible, it's happened. So we are going to work off of this momentum. We're going to keep going. We're going to keep fighting, and we're going to build a better world.
Fury from those campaigning to keep the guaranteed right to abortion, promising to fight back.
It's not the will of the people, and this country is supposed to run off of the will of the people. I'm 21 and I'm terrified.
We have a lot of work to do to make that happen, but we will never give up.
It's 50 years since there was last a significant decision on abortion rights in America. It might be another 50.
More, sure. But we're not going to stop. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what they say. Again, abortions will continue. They just won't be legal, and women will die from botched abortions.
It's obvious this ruling is not going to end the arguments over abortion in America. In fact, it will inflame them. In this deeply polarized society, abortion is already one of the most divisive issues. Even the president is powerless to change the court's ruling.
With this decision, the conservative majority of the Supreme Court shows how extreme it is, how far removed they are from the majority of this country. They made the United States an outlier among developed nations in the world. But this decision must not be the final word.
Abortion rights have been fought over for decades.
Good evening. In a landmark ruling, the Supreme Court today legalized abortions.
In 1973, the Supreme Court ruled in the test case of Roe versus Wade that women must have access to abortion across America. A decision totally reversed today.
It is my profound honor to be the first president in history to attend the March for Life.
As president, Donald Trump deliberately appointed 3 pro-life justices to the court, making today's ruling possible. He says God made the decision. In fact, it was 6 of the 9 judges.
By a vote of 6-3, the court affirmed that the power to protect unborn life is returned to the people and their elected representatives. The people have won a victory.
Jesus loves the little children.
Anti-abortion activists view today's victory as merely a first step. They will now take their campaigns to every state which continues to allow terminations, trying to get abortion banned in the whole of the United States. Sarah Smith, BBC News, Washington.
Well, as we mentioned earlier, there are 13 so-called trigger states which already have laws in place to immediately ban abortion now that Roe versus Wade has been overturned. One of them is Arkansas, whose Attorney General has this evening signed the ban into law. Our correspondent Sophie Long has had special access to an abortion clinic in the state, which is now having to turn women away. And there are distressing details in her report.
It was exactly the ruling they'd been dreading. But the expectation didn't make the court's decision any less devastating.
Abortion is murder. It's just been upheld.
Outside, they had to turn women away.
This isn't a country that I ever thought I would know. I thought that this country would still care about people, would still care about women.
Inside, they had to come to terms with the fact that the care they provided here is now a criminal offence.
I don't think there's a waiting period there, but it is about a 5.5-hour drive. And see, it's like having to turn women away, like, that sucks.
Jennifer Thompson first came here as a patient. She says her abortion saved her life, and the care she received here inspired her to train so she could do the same for others.
Now I have to tell them, I'm sorry, but there's nothing I can do for you. I'm sorry that your boyfriend beats you every day and that he rapes you all the time. There's nothing I can do. You're going to have to find somewhere else to go. I mean, I can give them information to help them try, but it's heartbreaking, man. Like, you know, this place saved my life, literally.
This is how I usually chart.
For more than 10 years, Dr. Willie Parker has travelled here from another state because the restrictive laws and the threat of violence or financial ruin has long been too great for local doctors to carry out abortions here themselves.
I feel angry in the way that anybody who is deeply vested in human rights should feel angry and outraged and indignant anytime they are witnessing injustice. We will come to recognize the full cost of criminalizing abortion when we start to see the bump in the rise in maternal mortality and morbidity, suffering and death related to conditions that are unique to pregnancy.
I put that to the woman who fought back tears of joy as she signed Arkansas's almost total ban on abortion into law. It makes no exception for rape or incest. A termination can only take place now in the case of maternal medical emergency.
Well, I don't know if that doctor has any facts to base that hypothetical answer on. We don't have any information to base that conclusion that this doctor has come up with. And hopefully, you know, this law that we're putting in place specifically says to save the life of a mother.
For the anti-abortion protesters outside the clinic, this is a good day.
We will not fully celebrate until abortion is eradicated fully from our land, until Little Rock Family Planning Services, for example, is closed down and does not reopen. Then we can celebrate for sure.
They will continue their fight, but the Supreme Court's ruling will fundamentally change the course of the lives of all the women who passed the protesters every day to provide the care they did here, along with those of millions of others across the United States. Sophie Long, BBC News, Little Rock, Arkansas.
Let's talk to Sarah Smith now. Sarah, such a hugely consequential decision this. What happens now?
Well, already several states have enacted immediate bans on abortion, and more will follow in the days and weeks to come. You heard President Biden there saying he thinks this is a sad day for America. Well, even though he and the Democrats control the White House and both houses of Congress, there's nothing they can do about this Supreme Court ruling. And the Democrats don't have enough votes in the Senate to be able to pass a new law that would guarantee abortion rights. So for now, President Biden says what he can do is try to make sure that women who want abortions but live in states that have banned the procedure are able to travel to other places where the termination can still be performed, places like New York State, which now says it's a safe haven for women seeking the procedure. And This really radical decision that has come from this very conservative Supreme Court, it's not necessarily going to stop here. We heard one of the justices today making it clear that he thinks that the court should now revisit some other progressive rulings, the ones that guarantee things like access to abortion or legalise same-sex marriage. It's possible that the court could look again at these and their inbuilt conservative majority could overturn them. There could be really significant and sweeping change coming to America.
Sarah, many thanks.